Steve Faring. One of the things that made me think that Scientology wasn't working around the world was the failure of their numerous Way to Happiness campaigns to affect real change anywhere they were done. Do you think they really did hand out those Way to Happiness booklets to very many people? I remember they were going to hand them out in the Middle East somewhere because it was always a troubled area. Well, I didn't see anything change there, and no one ever spoke of that campaign again. Did they really hand them out only to find that it didn't change anything? Okay, well, first off, no. Handing out the Way to Happiness book has never been shown to be a statistically relevant influencer in any area as to reducing crime, reducing violence. The church always makes these claims, but when you actually go fact check the graphs that they put together where they show rising or lowering crime rates and the distribution of the Way to Happiness booklets in those areas, you always find major other factors influencing those crime rate statistics. But the church kind of doesn't talk about those, and it just sort of throws a correlations not equal to causation fallacy at you that, look, we distributed these books here and the crime rate went down, a month later, and clearly it's because of the books, when in fact you go back and find out that the police force was, 2x'd in size, and there's been a whole, campaign being run for years, and, blah, 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 and education in the prisons and various other programs that themselves are, all in and of themselves don't do a whole lot, but collectively you can change the course of a society's crime rates or drug rates or drug trafficking, stuff like that, by actually enforcing laws and people doing their jobs rather than being a bunch of corrupt bureaucrats and police officials who are taking bribes and all that kind of stuff. Surprise. Okay, now as far as the Middle East goes, I have a story on this that I'm going to tell you guys, but I don't know if it's true or not. It was just a story that was spread around in the Sea Org when I was there, and it had directly to do with distribution of Way to Happiness in the Middle East. And it was some guys who had gotten together, and they had about, boxes in the back of a van of the Way to Happiness books, and they were driving down. This was somewhere in the Middle East. I can't remember where, but it was in a hot zone. And the story went that these guys got stopped by men with machine guns. I don't know if it was Palestinians. I don't know if it was Afghanis. I don't know, again, where it was. But they got stopped by people with machine guns who took them captive, took their truck, took all the boxes, put them in a basement, and we're trying to figure out what to do with them. They were gonna kill them. I mean, they were Americans or they were Westerners, and they had all these boxes of Way to Happiness books, and they were questioning them as to, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Because they were white people, right? And they were clearly Westerners, and they weren't wanted in the region. And the answer was, well, we're passing out these books, and they were like, no, that's total horseshit. You're not here passing out these books. We think you're spies. Prove us wrong. And they, said, well, no, really. They talked very convincingly. And they said, read the book. Look at the book. It's the Way to Happiness book. It's from L. Ron Hubbard. We're here to try to help. We want people to, get along and follow this nice moral code. And is there anything wrong in the book that we're putting here? I mean, do you see, look at it. And they kind of scratched their heads, the Middle Easterners, and they kind of went and looked at the book and were like, well, there isn't really anything wrong with this, and we don't really have any proof that you guys are spies. You say you're distributing these books. Well, all right. And eventually, after a couple days, they actually did hold these guys captive. Again, this is all just rumor. I don't know if this actually happened, but they held him hostage for another day or two, and then came downstairs, the leader or somebody came down and said, with the book in his hand, all right, we're going to let you go. Good luck. And they put him back in their van with their boxes. And of course, the punchline is that they kept one of the boxes of books for themselves. So, maybe that happened, maybe it didn't, but that was a story that was told. Now, okay, so are there people on the ground there distributing these books? Yes, I actually don't have any doubt that there are Scientologists in Israel, in Pakistan, in wherever they're going to get off to, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, wherever they can get to, passing out these books. And, honestly, I wouldn't really have much of a problem with them passing out these books as far as the moral code goes. But, I'm not really keen on them passing out books that have L. Ron Hubbard's name on them. But the Middle East is the last place I'm concerned about as far as Scientology propagating itself, because they have so many cultural and religious barriers to get over in those regions. And anyway, so, we'll see what happens with all that. But clearly, the efforts that they've made so far have fizzled, because if there had been any kind of change that they could point to, any kind of change on crime rates, drug rates, world peace, anything like that, believe me, the Church of Scientology would make it look like they were the saviors and they were the ones bringing peace to the Middle East. So the fact that they haven't really, at least as to my knowledge, done anything like that indicates to me that they just kind of want to forget about that whole thing, and we're not going to talk about that anymore. There you go.